We're at the very last steps of finishing up our jewelry box. But before we get to that, I just want to kind of point out this is a student's jewelry box, and not sure if you can see it from here, but they didn't really do that good of a job spraying on the lacquer. They put it on a little too thick. You can see here there's a bubble here, there's a bubble here, a drip or bubble here. You can see here, right? And here maybe, so you can see some shadows. So with lacquer, what we can do is we can just take this over to the sander and we can sand this off. Well, I would probably just do like a 220 sanding, see if we can sand that off, and then just, now that we've got some experience using the spray lacquer, go ahead and respray that so that we get a nice even coating. All right, so if I open up the box, here we go. We've got our tray that fits in here pretty tightly. Got some extra pieces, don't need those. So what we've got this beautiful box, but we see this ugly piece of plywood down here and this ugly piece of plywood down here. So what we want to do, this is a nice jewelry box, what we want to do is we want to line the bottom with some felt and line this with some felt. So right now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take you through the process of putting felt in the box, right? And this seems like a small, easy step, but it's actually kind of complicated and messy. So again, take your time. We've done such a great job on this project. Take your time, do a good job, and you're on the verge of taking this thing home. So what we need to do is we need to take a plain old piece of cardboard, and we want to cut the cardboard so it fits right down here in the bottom, and we want it to be just a little snug, so just a teeny tiny bit smaller than that rectangle there. So what we need to do is we need to do some measuring. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take a ruler, I'm going to measure this, and what we want to do is we want to measure between this riser and this riser. So you can see this ruler doesn't fit in the box. It's going to be kind of hard to measure. So we've got some inexpensive plastic rulers around that I went and cut. And so here I'm starting at the 0 mark, and I'm just going to go ahead and look at this, and I'm looking at 8 3/8. So our piece of cardboard is going to be 8 3/8 long, and here I can measure the width, and I can see the width probably about 6.5. So 8 3/8 by 6.5. So I'm going to get that out of the way. Here's our cardboard. What we want to do is, first of all, we want to make sure that we're starting with a 90-degree corner there. So I check with my square, and it's about 90 degrees. So we said 8 3/8 by 6.5. So 8 3/8. What I'll do is I'll start here. I measure out 8 3/8. That's right about there. I'll hook my speed square on. Okay, so now that line makes a 90-degree angle with that side. So that was 8 3/8 by about 6.5. So now I'm going to go ahead and measure out my 6.5. Put a mark. Hook on my speed square. Speed square wasn't quite long enough, so I'll go ahead and I'll just continue, extend the line with my ruler. All right, so you can see here, here's my piece of cardboard that's going to fit in the bottom of my box. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and we're going to cut this on the bandsaw. Do the best job you can. Just go ahead and cut straight down that line and straight down that line. And we'll see how it turns out. Alright, so I cut my rectangle on the bandsaw, and what I want to do is I just kind of want to get an idea of whether I did a good job or not and see if this is going to fit in here. So what I can see is I can slide that thing in there like this, and I'm going to kind of lower it, and you know what? This is fitting real nice. If I shove this piece of cardboard down the box right now, I'm going to have a real hard time getting that out. So don't shove this into the box. Don't force it down. Just check to see if it's about the right size. All right, ready for the next step. So I got my cardboard, and we've got felt in the class. The felt, you can see, is already going to pre-cut for you. With the felt, we've got is substantially bigger than the actual piece of cardboard. Maybe we've got like a 1-inch border all the way around. And what's going to happen is that we're going to glue the felt onto the cardboard, and then we're going to stick the cardboard in the bottom of the box. Now what's going to happen, this is kind of just like wrapping presents. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue this on. We're going to wrap this over, and then we're going to wrap this over. And you can see what happens when we wrap these two things over. We get to all this extra material here. It doesn't fit nice. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to position our cardboard so it's in the middle of the felt. And what we do is we're going to estimate kind of like what a 45-degree line is here. We're going to cut off, starting right there at that corner. I kind of just estimated a straight line. Okay, that's at a 45-degree angle. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Same thing in all four corners. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut off this excess material. All right, so you can see we're going to cut this off, cut this off, cut that off. So here we go. Corners are cut off. I'll try and reposition my cardboard, see where it's going to go. I think that's the way it's going to be. So now when we fold this, right, that gets folded like that. This gets folded like this. Now we got a nice sharp corner here. We don't have all that extra felt in that corner. All right, so now what we need to do is we're going to glue this down. First of all, we're going to glue the cardboard to the felt, and then we're going to glue the felt to the cardboard. And when I say glue, what we're going to do is we're going to use something called spray glue, right? Looks just like a spray can. Looks like just the same can as our lacquer comes in here. But this is what I mean when I say we're going to glue. We're going to use this multi-purpose adhesive. Now, this is glue. Believe it or not, I've had people more than once take this glue and spray it all over their box because they think it's the lacquer. Okay, and it pretty much just ruins the box. So this is glue. This is the glue that we're going to use. And it's like super messy. So let's see how we're going to deal with this. Alright, so you can see my first step is I put newspaper down. This spray glue kind of sprays all over the place, so I just definitely want to cover my work area with newspaper. And it's nice and clean, right? This is the first. You don't want to reuse the newspaper for your second piece, right? You want a nice clean piece of newspaper, because if any glue gets on the underside of this thing, the opposite side, you kind of have to start all over again. So here's my spray glue. And what I want to do is I want to put a nice even coat of glue on my felt. Now I'm going to take my cardboard. I got my gloves on. You get the spray glue on your fingers. Eventually it'll come off, but it'll take a couple hours. So again, I'm going to go ahead and line this up to where I had it before. Pushing this down. And now what I do is I take this and I fold it over. See if if I can get that to stick. Take this, fold it over. Okay, pushing down on this for a couple minutes, making sure it's nice and secure. Keeping in mind right now, I probably have spray glue on my fingertips. Alright, so what I want to do is I'm going to take my gloves off. Take my gloves off. Pick this up and just kind of move it out of the way for a second. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this and we're going to shove it down in the bottom of the box, and it will probably never come out again. You can see, because we're working on a dirty, dusty, dirty environment, we got some sawdust and stuff on the bottom. What we'll do is we can just go over to the vacuum cleaner or get a piece of tape and kind of clean that up. So that is the process of putting the felt in the bottom of the box. Take your time, be neat about it, and we're going to repeat that same process for the tray.